You're listening to DraftKings Network.
Welcome to the Big Suey, presented by DraftKings.
Why are you listening to this show?
The podcast that seems very similar to the other Dan Le Batard podcast.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to apologize for that.
In fact, the only difference seems to be this imaging.
I have been tempted in restaurants just walking past tables to grab somebody's fries that if they're just there. That hasn't happened to you guys?
I've done it.
And now, here's the marching man to nowhere, Fat Face, and the habitual liar.
I wanted to try something special because Stugotz and Greg and Dominique are all in this room with me now. We've summoned Dominique. We've called him up. And I called him up because I wanted to assemble a council of dads.
Wow. Cats.
I just put Violet into the beginnings of martial arts classes.
Nice.
And we're at this point in which I'm like finding it adorable and I want to see her in a little gi and all that stuff. And I'm realizing that I got to make some calls about like what is my involvement in my child's sporting life. And Dominique at dinner last night told me an important development in his own.
Coaching my son's flag football team, something I always said I would never do, is never coach my kids' sports, but I'm coaching his flag football. Yeah.
Are you just the D coordinator? Or?
The HC, huh?
Nah, we'll see.
You got to be the HC. Was there an expectation because you played in the NFL? All the parents thought, hey, Dominique's got to be the coach.
That's
of
why
team, right?
I've always said I'm never going to coach any of my kids' sports, is because like
That's pressure, man.
It's not even about the pressure as much as it's like I just don't want to be in that role, but I'm now in that role. And so as I do, I'm taking it very seriously, and I don't care as much about the development physically as much as I do like the other stuff, you know, like
Winning.
no, I mean,
What do you
so
mean?
that's the tough spot is
What's the point of playing?
I feel like I should win, but I also want them to know that I don't care if we win or not. And so the thing is, that's me now, and my wife has pointed out as soon as I get out there, that's the reason I'm coaching, is because she said I needed to coach the team, so I'm coaching the team because he's switching schools, and she wanted to keep his, like he has a really good group of close friends that she wanted him to stay in contact with, and using me as the coach was the lure to get them all to stay together. But they're going to be really disappointed because I'm not trying to breed no NFL players. Like, let's just have fun and be kind to each other. But then as soon as one of these random
Dominique.
washed up high school guys who are coaching the other team beats my team and starts talking shit, we are getting intense.
As soon as
talking about. They'll be running gassers. I mean,
as soon as Dominique spies a Greg or a Stu across the sideline, he's gonna snap into the version of himself that he just said he wanted to go to church to escape.
There's different ways this can play out, though. Like, if your son is, like, the best player on the team, that's when it becomes difficult for you. If your son isn't, and he's middle of the pack, maybe even bottom, then it's an easy gig. Because, you know, it gets difficult when your son is, like, the best, because then you want to play the best kid the best, and then it's like, but, your son is playing the most. It's awkward when...
but you have to set the expectations with your child if your child is indeed good enough. Chris, it's a great point because you have to tell your child, hey, don't give me a reason to bench you. Like, you have to work 10 times harder than everyone else so no one looks at me cross-eyed. Like, none of the other parents. Like, you have to be able to go out there and play at this level. Otherwise, I'm going to have to sit you.
You coach Chris, right? And he was obviously the best player on all the teams. So
One of them.
Among the best. Never the fastest. But
you never let them know, right, Greg?
Unnecessary.
Yeah.
Faster than you think.
Did not have to do that.
For the record, faster than you think.
I think one of the strategies, though, when you're coaching your own kids...
is yell, go to the ball,
and
whatever
it's
color
good.
jersey they're wearing.
Well, they're blue. Go to the ball, blue.
That was Greg Cody coaching method. Whatever color the jersey is, go to the ball.
Oh, dads love yelling colors out loud.
Yeah, that's right. Blue. You know, we got blue uniforms. What else am I going to say? You know.
I actually think that's bad coaching. Like, in what sport do you have to tell the kids to go to the ball? Don't they all know? Because at least in watching
soccer.
Watching my daughter's soccer team, the hard thing to coach them out of.
You don't want all of them running to the ball.
Yeah,
right. Exactly.
Like,
terrible
the
coaching.
The instinct is to go to the ball. So, like, I noticed that the thing that they need to work on more than
Not
anything
going to the ball
is, like, spread out. understand offensive spacing.
Space the floor.
Yeah, and the same thing with my son's
gravity.
basketball team. I coached his basketball team for 2 practices because their coach wasn't there, and that was the hardest thing. By the end of the practice, I was just celebrating kids who would run to the corner. Get to the corner. Get to the top.
Spacing.
Move around.
Be like PJ Tucker.
Hit your spots, because otherwise they're just running around, just flopping into each other.
Well,
It's
listen,
bad.
Christopher, I say go to the ball, Blue, but my second favorite thing to yell as a coach was separate. Because
It's kind of contradicting yourself.
Yes.
Well,
Make up your mind, coach.
No, go to the ball means
But Dad, you're yelling that out loud. You're not saying, "Hey, specific player, go to the ball." You're just yelling, "Go to the ball, Blue!"
but they know where it is.
Little
I'm-
Johnny in center defense is now running all the way.
Separate! I'm imagining a beautiful Lionel Messi style through pass. The right wing has to go to the ball, and he's just standing there admiring the pass. That's when I say, "Go to the ball, Blue." I could be saying his name,
Right, but you don't know it, right?
No, I do, but I don't want to single anybody out for criticism.
When I go to like my son's games, he's played flag football for a while, and the parents on the sideline are hyper competitive, and that I am not. It's like I want the kids to have fun, and they are always like critical of the coaching, and then they all lean over to me like, "Hey, they need to do something." Like,
Right.
You don't know. What
You
the
need to
hell
stop
you're
that
talking
right
about.
there. No.
They come with
Again,
X's and O's.
This is all about front end conversations. You tell the parents, hey, I'm out here, I'm coaching. Don't you dare tell anyone on this team, including your own child, what to do, because it might run counter to what it is I have taught them and what we are trying to do. Don't say a word. I am doing this on my free time.
And introduce
No one is
yourself.
paying me. If you want to come out here and do it, feel free to come out here and do it. Otherwise, shut your mouth and watch the game.
I think
If only that worked.
I think that may be a requirement for you headed into coaching, but I just kind of feel like generally my presence establishes that y'all need to shut up. Like, I just kind of feel like
They're not going to shut up.
So it just seems so ridiculous that some dad who played high school football would be like coaching over the top of me. Like, I just don't think that they have the guts.
But that's I believe that it's exactly the opposite. They have been waiting their entire life to prove that they could out-football NFL players.
Oh, yeah. The coach on the other sideline, he raises his game because
Yes.
you're over there.
Right.
You know, or at least he does in his mind. You know, we're
Oh
going to
yeah,
kick the ass.
he's drawing up plays. He's
Your
throwing
team
in
is now a
terminology.
target. You know that, right?
Yeah, NFL hotshot
Talking
over
about
there.
Veer.
But also, some of the best players are bad coaches. So, like, we're just kind of dismissing these people that were washed up high school stars, thinking like, "Yo, you know what? They're not going to beat me." But they could be like great offensive and defensive
Bill
minds. They just
Belichick.
didn't have the abilities. No, he was good in the NFL.
I think what is the most frustrating thing is like how seriously they take it. And that's something that I don't want to do, but I think you believe I'm going to.
Because Dominique does this. Dominique
things
loves doing this.
Okay.
You love to say that I am not competitive.
No, I don't say that. Okay, go ahead. Finish.
You said it earlier in this segment.
Didn't you used to compete against people on Peloton?
Yes. Dominique
I did not
does
compete
suffer,
against people on Peloton.
But you do not suffer challenges.
I beat the dog shit out of
There
people
it
on
is.
Peloton. It's different.
You talked about racing someone on an electric bike that you didn't know was an electric bike.
And I won.
I remember being told a story of you racing someone behind a building in D.C.
Cooked them.
Sounds a little competitive, doesn't
Well, it's
it?
not competitive if there's no competition.
And I never say that I'm not competitive. That's not the thing I'm saying.
I think
but
you said it earlier this segment.
That was not me. I do sincerely believe
This is him.
that there's something different about coaching kids sports. Like, most kids are not going to play professional football. Most kids are not going to play college football. Like, I think the important thing about youth sports is like you use it as an opportunity to, and like, that's what my dad did. He didn't coach me playing. I remember being 6 years old and I told my dad I wanted to be a professional football player when I grow up. And he was like, all right, well, you should do something to get you closer to that goal every day. And at the time I was like, yeah, my dad believes in me. But what actually was happening was he was like, all right, this is what the kid cares about. Let's instill some lesson in him. And I want to do that with the kids that I'll be coaching, and that's my goal. I also whip some ass.
I have Stugotz as Richard Williams. I have Stugotz as Earl Woods.
What happened to us splitting up?
Yeah.
Because like we teased this 2 versus 2 thing,
right?
And it's just now there's 4 of you in there talking.
This is one of our segments.
We're getting along.
You guys, Stugotz and
Oh
Greg,
no,
how's
this
it
is
going?
ours.
We claim it.
Dominique weren't getting along.
We're claiming it. This is us.
We outsourced our first segment.
I have Stugotz.
We win.
I remember talking to one of the DraftKings executives at Moss Miami.
Yeah.
And he said that his memory of you was you stalking up and down lacrosse sideline.
I'm a stalker, yeah.
Holding a lacrosse stick. Like you
walk
were
a lot,
actually
yeah.
menacingly holding a lacrosse stick as if you two were playing.
I always had a stick in my hand. Listen, we started having success, and I had the stick in my hand, and I'm very superstitious, so I just kept a lacrosse stick in my hand at all times. I would throw it occasionally. I would break it occasionally. I've
got you throwing it like a javelin.
Well, I've done that. I mean, I just throw, and I'm never mad at the kids. I'm always mad either at myself or usually at the referees.
Yeah, that seems right.
That's or parents. I mean, but never the kids.
I don't want to do coaching like play to play. Like I would like to have someone else do the play to play.
You want an OC?
And yeah, OC, DC, and I'd rather just like do substitutions and pull out an individual kid and be like, look, see what you should see in this moment, and then send it back in. Like that's what I imagine.
You know, you can't build out a full staff for a kids team.
Says who?
I love you. I got my OC, got my strength coach.
I already got people assigned. So the guy who coached their team last year, he's in. One of my college teammates played professional football. He's in. Another one of the kids' dad played pro ball. He's in. We got a big. So we'll see how committed they are.
Are you guys gonna have like the same polo shirts and stuff?
I refuse. So like they had
headsets.
The team that they
headsets.
had.
Yeah.
The team that they had last year, they all had. The kids had jerseys and the coaches had matching jerseys. I think they're going to do the same thing, but I refuse to wear a jersey.
Why?
I don't know. I don't think I should wear a jersey.
You gonna make them watch film? Dry erase boards? Anything?
No.
If you're gonna coach. Let's go, man.
Really?
Yeah. Don't outsource the coaching.
I'm not. No,
Get
I don't.
involved. The kids want to feel like you're in it with them.
I will be. I
That's why I held a stick.
More one-on-one in my coaching. Like I think that's where I would prevail, and I think I just want to talk to them about because they do a lot of making fun of each other, which is cool, but also like let's be positive. Let's lift each other up. That sort of stuff.
So whose show is this right now?
I don't know.
Is this young and smarter or older?
Older.
Don't try to divide us.
It's our show.
So we're sticking together? Are we just blowing up the whole plan?
Should we flip a coin? Do you want to flip a coin? Is that what you want to do?
I mean, that seems fair. Who has a coin nowadays, though?
No, I don't think so.
I don't have a coin.
Good point.
All right. Number behind my back, even or odd, Stu.
YouTube.com/Batard.
But you could also change the number. Okay, so we'll just trust you.
Yeah.
Why don't you trust him?
Yeah.
There.
that's
I'll
true.
stand over here so you guys can see
The
it.
camera team loves that.
Good call.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
And his
You got a
headphones out.
50-50
Okay.
chance here,
All right.
Stugotz.
All right. I'll go even.
You nailed it.
Wow.
That was a
Great.
great payoff.
All right.
Good job.
Are you guys?
You can also see the reflection.
So
off
we
the
have
back.
2 segments to
Are
go.
you
One
kicking
segment
or
down.
receiving?
We'll take the ball. Yeah.
Yeah,
Take the
we won.
All right, Pablo, Dominique, out of here.
You gonna take the wind?
4 seconds.
We'll take a quick break and then we will reconvene.
Hey, it's Mike Ryan, and I've been outdoors more than I'd like to admit this summer. It's really hot. I've been burning through shirts. Can't go anywhere in South Florida without a backup shirt. I'm just telling you right now. But that's going to be the second best advice I give you here. The best advice I can possibly give you, it's cracking open that beautiful white can and letting the great taste of Miller Lite hit your taste buds so hard you feel it in your heart. Have yourself some Miller time, folks. Miller time. You know, the time when you and your friends can get together and enjoy the simple things in life. Why don't you let these wonderful summer moments get amplified with Miller Lite? Because when it's summertime, it tastes like Miller time. The best beer there is. I promise you, there isn't going to be a better decision that you can make this summer than just taking a sip out of that beautiful white can. Make unforgettable summer memories with Miller Lite. Get Miller Lite delivered right to your door. Visit MillerLite.com/Dan, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
Don Le Batard.
Shane Battier's gone and Dwayne Wade goes. I'm not sure what's going on with the culture.
Sinking ship. Stugotz.
They realized Spo's never leaving. You know, I feel like, what's his name had a...
Good start. Keep going. Just keep.
Good. No.
Fight through it.
No, let's just end the segment right there.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Greg, I want to get back to coaching your kid, but I also want to start a fantasy football podcast. I do. I'm not looking at Billy when I say this because Billy's going to be outraged for even floating this idea, but I need a name. I need a name for the fantasy football podcast because I am tired every fall, like where we look at the podcast rankings and you see these fantasy football shows all, creep into the top 10. They're going to go away once the season starts, but there is popularity with fantasy football. And so I therefore want to start a podcast, a fantasy football podcast. Would you like to co-host with me?
You know what? That would be an interesting proposition. Let me take that up at the next board meeting.
An interesting proposition,
yes.
So no.
Yes. The great Matthew Cherry. I mean,
you have a football podcast. You could just have a fantasy segment on.
That's fair, but I'm thinking a full fantasy football podcast,
God bless fantasy football just was blurted out in the back of the room.
We're off to a good start, okay? Billy, I'm sorry. You don't have to produce it, but your point is a good one. I do have a football show with you every single week.
And by the way,
where I could address fantasy within that show. Yes.
That's going to be twice a week during the football season. So
Okay.
we'll have more time to discuss fantasy football.
Great.
So you need a good name.
Yes.
Fantasy Podball.
That's it.
We're spitballing. No bad ideas.
Fantasy Stew Ball. I think that it has to have the word fantasy in it. Can we all agree with
No.
that?
It does.
Nah,
it
yes.
has
Are we
to.
sure about that?
100%.
Yeah.
Podball's not bad, though.
Yeah, fantasy Podball.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's not good, but it's also
It's
not
going to be all downhill from there.
It's
That
not
was
bad.
that was my gift to you.
So I think I was feeling what you were feeling. By the way, at Stugotz790 on Twitter, I need names for this, okay? I do. I'm serious about this. I think you were feeling what I was feeling when we were talking coaching with Dominique and Pablo. I can't stand the coach who's like, hey, it's not about winning and losing. I want to teach the kids, tell them how to do it right, teach them life lessons. No. Coaching is all about winning and losing. Is it not?
I think you can do it all in your philosophy of coaching. I think you can want the kids to have just nothing but fun. You want them to learn.
You know what's fun?
And you
winning.
want to win.
Yeah. Winning is fun.
But that is the lesson. The life lesson is, hey, you don't always win. It stinks when you have a really good team because then they don't learn that.
Right. But you're more apt to have fun on a winning team. That's just human nature. You're more apt to have fun on a winning team. So if it's all about fun,
but you don't want the
then
kids,
it should be a lot about winning as well.
You don't want the kids to think that I'm with Dominique in theory, but you play to win the game.
Right.
Winning,
See how much fun those kids are having after they lose 15-1.
Winning
Is there ice cream after?
Listen, winning is more fun than losing.
No.
That's all.
No.
And that was always my rationale. Winning is more fun than losing. It's as simple as that.
Groundbreaking.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but that is the rationale for wanting to win. I remember when you started off in soccer, I think 5 years old, 6 years old, whatever it was. Oh, we don't keep score in this league. You know what? We may not keep score. I did. I knew whether or not we won.
That is true. I was doing that with my daughter's team. Like, They're like, we don't really, there's no records. It's like, I know our record.
Right, exactly.
Right.
I kept track of who scored all the goals. Are you kidding me?
Right.
Of course, that was, I'm always been like that as far as keeping stats and everything about everything. But, you want to win. There's no shame in wanting to win. That's the thing.
Right.
Is some people want you to make you feel guilty if you say openly, I want to win.
I agree.
Yeah.
But you would know the score of all the games?
Yeah.
Do you think the other coach was keeping track as well?
Hell yes.
Right. Would you remind him when you won?
No, I didn't go that far.
Why?
Yeah, maybe
that's taking it too far.
Maybe there's a little bit more of a strut in my gait as I'm walking to midfield to shake hands afterward. But
a strut that suggests that you won, that you kicked his ass.
Oh yeah,
right.
I guarantee you, if the coach on the opposite sideline is an former NFL player and I beat him,
right.
Yeah, I'm going to be about 7'5" tall when I walk to midfield to shake his hand.
7'5".
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
What did I say?
I don't know.
Yeah.
7'5" tall.
Yeah, that just was the worst.
But I'm
possible
glad
way
you
to
brought this up because my kids they go to sleepaway camp. Now, when I went to sleepaway camp, color war was everything. The most competitive thing I've ever been involved in. Okay, it was blue and buff. I don't know why buff. It should have been yellow. Yeah, it's a weird color, blue and buff. But
wait, buff's a color?
Buff is a color.
Why not red?
It's like it's a yellow because the camp colors were blue and buff.
Oh, okay.
What do you want from me? I didn't know the camp. The Sobels did.
I knew you didn't say.
Okay.
I didn't
Terrible
know buff was a
color. Terrible color.
It's a terrible. No one wanted to
It's
be
like
on
the
buff.
worst shade of yellow you can imagine.
I know, like Pablo was wearing buff today. That would be considered buff.
The color of
Mustard
sand,
yellow,
like desert
right?
sand.
Right.
Cub Scout colors.
Can't tell if that was trash talk or not.
It's a nice shirt, but it's buff, right?
It's not a shirt. It's a shacket.
It's a shacket. Okay,
A
sorry.
shacket?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Take it back now, y'all.
I mean, it's obvious what it means.
Yeah,
guys.
shacket, but-
Your son is Chris Cody.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't understand what a shacket is?
No, I would refer to it as a jert. J-I-R-T.
Right.
Huh.
Yeah. Instead of
Dominique,
shacket.
they're good at this.
What are you
They're
doing
too good
there?
at this.
Yeah.
You know, half shirt, half jacket.
Right.
I'm making it half jacket, half shirt. Jert.
It repels water, that jert.
Yeah, you save
It's
a
water
syllable.
wicking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're going for a jerk joke.
Well, my nana, my grandmother, used to always say in life, when I was talking too much,
Is
she'd
this
say,
Ellie?
you know, in life you only have so many words before you run out.
Right.
She would say that when I was talking to
Nellie
her.
Doogie?
Yeah.
Wise lady, huh?
Yeah, she was a wise lady.
So Stu
Yeah.
says jerk, and that brings up Nelly?
One hop this
I forget
time.
how I got to Nellie Doogie.
It is a little hot in here.
Crisscross.
What age does youth soccer stop sucking?
Never.
Like, because at the beginning,
It's the worst.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's like a huge huddle of kids all just trying to kick the ball.
They're
at the
going
same
to the
time,
ball.
and it doesn't go anywhere. And you just see like this mass of people moving back and forth, and the ball never leaves that group, and there's never any goal scored. So like, when in the development of youth soccer do they actually start playing soccer?
We just saw soccer played at the highest level. People woke up at 5 a.m. to watch that match. I woke up at 7:15, saw the same amount of goals as they did.
Recycle.
I mean,
Yeah, you did that one yesterday.
what are you doing over there? I mean, are you helping? I mean, helping yourself. But I do love, like, I don't know where we've arrived where everyone needs to feel like they have won something. You win or you lose. If you lose, you go home and work
This is where
harder
Dominique and I
so
take the
next time you don't have that feeling, right? Because no
Right.
one wants that feeling. So in color war, for me, blue and buff, back to Camp Winawkee and the Sobels, okay, it was very competitive, and we all wanted to win, and someone always won. But at my kids' camp, what they do is they have color war, goes for like 4 or 5 days, bunch of athletic activities, right? You win, you get a certain amount of points. You lose, you get less points. But then they also have Song Fest at the very end, where each team performs 3 songs. And what this camp always does is someone wins the athletic competition, someone wins the song competition, and every single year their color war ends up in a tie. And it drives me crazy.
Yeah.
What are we teaching these kids?
Every kid now gets a trophy too.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, what are they learning? If you're just getting one to participate, why are we even competing?
Right.
I agree with that at a very young age. You know, if you're 5 or 6 years old, the kid beams with delight when you give him or her a little trophy. You know, so I agree with that at a young age. But no, once you get to be 12 and older, screw that. You know, I mean, if you win, you get a trophy. If you don't win, you don't get anything except a pat on the back.
This show's called Back in My Day. Did you know that the Little League World Series now bats everybody? Like back in the day, like previous
Every inning,
years,
everyone hits?
Not every inning.
It's mass
but
softball.
It's just one lineup that the whole game. Like back in the day, it would be like you'd sub kids in. Every kid had to play in Little League World Series, but it would be late in the game. You would sub guys in. Now you bat all the guys throughout the whole game.
Yeah, I don't believe in that. It's not baseball anymore. It's a
Right
different
foot,
game.
let's stomp.
I don't believe in giving losers any sort of prize. Like,
Right.
you lost. Get to work and come back and win the next time you play again.
I agree, because
I don't care what age you are.
Yeah.
You're setting a bad example. You're saying, hey, for your poor performance every time for the rest of your life, and listen, it's funny. This is funny coming out of my mouth. But the worse you are at your job, the more reward you're going to get.
Hold on. Stugotz
That is a
telling
terrible
people to A, go to work, and B, be good at your job.
He's
My
telling
parents should
children
be
that.
ashamed of themselves for teaching me this lessons and instilling this into me at such an early age. I'm telling you, I'm telling you right now, I do not know what's happened to America's youth. I don't. And I blame the parents because the parents think it's totally acceptable to sugarcoat a loss. And it's absolutely not. Losing is losing. And you know what it does? It makes you a loser. So if you care about the sport and your teammates that much, go back to the gym, work really hard, practice, focus, come back so you don't ever feel that feeling again.
Yeah.
Teach them at an early age.
Dinners for winners.
Mm-hmm.
The only problem with that philosophy.
Ridiculous. Well said, Billy.
The only problem with that philosophy is that while you're excoriating the kids for not being good enough, the parents are blasting the coaches for not being good enough. And you know what I'm saying?
No, every loss was always on me. I would take the blame for the losses and say, hey, I did a bad job. I didn't prepare you well enough, okay? But we lost. And that stinks. And I want you to remember this feeling so you know how lousy it feels when you do lose. And perhaps we'll all work harder, myself included, so we never feel this feeling again.
Right. And that's a life's lesson.
Damn game. Mike.
Mm-hmm.
That's a life's lesson.
The damn game. Mike.
I gave that speech to my kids when they were, I want to say, 9th grade. That speech. Hey, it's on me. This is on me. I need to prepare you better. But we all need to go back to the practice field and work harder. Watch tape, watch more tape, get prepared. My kids wanted to be great, okay? And I explained to them we watch tape. No, the tape doesn't lie. I mean, ask Dominique. The tape doesn't lie. If you're an athlete out there, a young athlete, you have to be willing to watch the tape and be critical of yourself if you want to get better. Don't watch your goals. Watch all the things you missed.
You got to hang tough there. Hang tough.
Mm-hmm. I was a tough coach, I got to tell you.
You watched film?
Oh, yeah.
Win the damn game. Mike.
What do you mean? You didn't?
No, but, I never coached above... what's the last age I coached you? When you were like 14 or something?
Yeah.
In baseball. So I never, I didn't get to the high school level or anything like that. I was strictly a Ute coach.
You were not a great coach, though, admittedly.
No, you know what? Damn.
But he knew the score.
He was good at giving the speech at the team party. He would always say, I love this next guy. I loved him like a son. Here's Chris Cody.
That's right.
He was good at the postseason speech.
Here's my philosophy of youth coaching. You got to have two. I always had an assistant coach. You got to have two coaches. I was the rah-rah guy, and the assistant coach I named, I almost said hired, like
it was me.
No, the assistant coach has to be more of a nuts and bolts, X's and O's guy.
Good cop, bad cop?
Yeah, sort of. Like.
Right.
This is a new and unimproved Dan Le Batard show with the Stugotz. Gamble on by DraftKings.
Hey folks, are you missing your NFL team's out-of-market games? Do you not have a great plan? Do you need a much better plan? Well, I've got a deal for you. Switch to my plan from Verizon and get NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV on us with eligible phone purchase and Unlimited Plus. That's a value of up to $449. Get every out-of-market game every Sunday afternoon. Switch to my plan at your Verizon store today for a limited time and get NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV on us with eligible phone purchase and Unlimited Plus. It's your Verizon. $449 value applies to NFL Sunday Ticket 2023-24 only. Additional terms and embargoes apply to NFL Sunday Ticket on YouTube. No refunds.
Dan Le Batard.
I don't want to be too extreme on this, but he failed America.
Stugotz.
Okay, very good.
This is the Dan Le Batard show with the Stugotz.
So that was the oldest shit I've ever heard, I think.
You didn't like the no participation?
I liked how they were exactly they are who we thought they were, in fact. They were doing extended back in my day, and I wanted to ask Dominique, my partner in this segment of young, cool, non-white people, when he watches the kids these days, the kids who did the job that he did in the NFL, former professional quarterback, how much back in my day do you end up feeling?
None. They're so much better than we were. I gotta be.
You're not even gonna fight on this?
The cornerbacks is the most important position outside of quarterback in football. And I know you might think that I'm just being biased, but I think PFF did a thing a while ago where they did like a statistical analysis. And one of the more impactful things you can have is a really good cornerback for your defense. And they changed the rules a lot. when I was coming up as a corner, they were changing the rules in the process. They were making it, if you remember, after the Patriots won their first couple Super Bowls, they then tightened the rules on illegal contact, which made it really hard for us.
Yep, they were beating people up.
Right. And so they tightened the rules on illegal contact. The pass interference rules, they are written as if it is equitable, but they're not, like, treated that way. Like, offensive pass interference is rarely called. It's something you have adjusted. Quarterbacks get more protection. The game has gotten more and more difficult while I was in the league for cornerbacks. And so we grew up playing football a certain way. And then
you had to leave room for the Holy Ghost at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, and that wasn't what we were used to. And then they also like developed the back shoulder fade. These were things that didn't exist before. And so the game got harder and harder for us while we were in the league. And it was hard to adjust. And the thing that I've realized is like the young cornerbacks in this game, when I first got this realization was a couple years ago, I saw corners playing the back shoulder fade in a way that we never considered, because when you're teaching like press coverage,
let's go nuts and bolts. Teach me.
You're either with your chest to
either opening up your hip or you're not, right?
Yeah, you've either fully opened or you haven't. So you either have your shoulders aligned with the line of scrimmage, or you have your shoulders aligned with the line of scrimmage, but you're facing the other way because you're running with someone. And the corners were starting to do this side saddle technique where they were actually able to play the back shoulder and sprint. And that's when I was like, damn, I could never do that. And it just hit me that they had been the skills that had been coached into them were in a reaction to the league that they were looking at. And they were seeing this back shoulder fade take over the league. And so they developed a way to do it, a way to play against it. And I was just marveled at their ability to do that. And I think part of it is not because they're better athletes, but because the rules have been like consistent for long enough for them to still be playing the same game that they grew up playing. Whereas for us, we were like, all right, this is football. This is football.
Wait, so you're saying that you as a cornerback is like you as a person, me as a person. We had to adjust from having a modem that screamed at us when we wanted to dial into the internet to then having an addiction to a cell phone that was going to be universes more confusing than what we knew as children.
I think that's a good example because you notice how younger people obviously have grown up in a world of social media and they just produce social media content that is like good.
Yeah,
it just falls out of their
intimidating
out of their
hell.
face, and there's like that's a great post from this random 14-year-old girl, and I'm like, you know what? I want to make social media.
Dude, I'm thinking hard.
Let me think of something. All right, let me set this up. Let me do 4 takes. Oh, and I got to start it the right way.
I'm going to script this. I'm going to script this on a Google Doc first.
You know the kids make fun of you if you start social media videos with like, okay, they make fun of you because that suggests that you don't know what you're doing. But normally, like, we don't feel natural looking.
I need to address the magic object that is stealing my soul.
But they just start talking, and I'm like, all right, I got a camera up. Okay, this is what I'm here to say, but they're just talking, and that's the same thing with the modern
you're
quarterback.
You're starting a selfie video like you just heard a whistle blow.
Yes. All right, let's do it. But they just feel naturally. But yeah, I noticed that. And so like Trayvon Diggs' ability to turn the ball over, it's just outstanding stuff that you see. J.C. Horn is one of the guys that I think is young and really talented. Not to mention, how could Sauce Gardner walk in the league and be the best damn corner in the league on day one? It's just absurd. The length and athleticism and coordination.
So the Sauce Gardner thing, his name indicates that there is a hype that was seemingly designed to not be met. But you're right. I'm looking at all of these like advanced analytic rankings, and Sauce Gardner, cornerback for the New York Jets, has exceeded the hype. Why is he able to be this definitively the best?
So to be fair, it's about the rest of the team also, the rest of the defense also. And so that's why you focus on coaching not to win at a young age, and you focus on coaching to do things the right way. It's clear that this team works well together, and it seems that what he understands really well is the moments in the game. When there are times to take risk and when there are times not to take risk, when to give up something and when to take something away, because he's not perfect. No cornerback is perfect. And that's where the confidence of a corner is something that we talk about, and I wish everyone had, because we get mocked all the time because people are like, you know what, cornerbacks, if the quarterback throws an incomplete pass,
you're celebrating.
We celebrate like you did something, even if it's just a bad throw. You're goddamn right. Because out there, I'm expected to create miracles happen all the time. The refs are against me. Like, functionally, being a cornerback is like being a black man in America, which is possibly part of the reason why only cornerbacks in America are black men. Is like the system is designed for you to fail. And then when you start to succeed, they change the goddamn rules again. And then you start to succeed, they change the goddamn rules again.
Now you sound old.
Are you saying that Jason Sehorn can dance?
Probably. And then if I happen to have success, it's because you messed up. So I'm celebrating. Ain't nothing wrong with me doing a dance because you're going to dance if I slip. No one is like, hey, they caught a touchdown and he celebrated because the cornerback slipped. So what? A win is a win. They're hard to get. Let's celebrate them.
Dominique mentioned earlier that the back shoulder fade just kind of appeared out of nowhere. Do we credit, like, is it Brady? Like, who is the inventor of the back shoulder fade?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Let's credit somebody right now. Let's give someone credit.
I would say that Stugotz could help look this up, but he...
John back shoulder?
Just came in from a heater break and is now sitting with his feet up on the back row. And isn't even listening.
He came in, he was just like, oh, Pablo's just interviewing Dominique about being a DB? Huh.
John back
real creative.
Wow.
But explain the...
But Dominique, continue to explain.
I have questions. This is what I actually
You guys
do
will make
kind
jokes.
of get
We'll
off
let
on.
you mother suckers drown.
I want to know about the confidence, right? Because the back shoulder fade, whoever we're attributing this to, maybe it's Brady, maybe it's whoever, right? We've seen it work in the Super Bowl. The feeling that you got when you were having to defend that was what? Because your job is theater of confidence.
Yeah, so it's frustration, obviously, because initially there are so many routes that you can run. And so when you're playing defensive back, what you're doing is when you're playing it in a smart way, you're trying to reduce the number of possibilities in a play. So you come out of the snap, all right, the down and distance, it's second and whatever. This team on this situation, more often than not, runs this particular play. The quarterback did a hard count, so he knows that we have shown where our blitz is. So when we're blitzing, they like to address the blitz this way. We've demonstrated that we are in man coverage and he's in a tight split. Man coverage in a tight split, they're probably going to do a crossing route. Narrow them, like essentially you're doing that before the snap. And then the play starts and you're like, all right, he's hard outside fake. Oh, he's setting up a slant. Nope, it's not a flake. He's running straight. This is a go or a hitch. Oh, we went past the hitch distance.
How many seconds have elapsed at this point?
I'm not done. We went past the hitch distance. Oh, this is too far. This is definitely a fade. I got the fade. Turn on the speed. Cut off the fade. Oh, he threw it behind him. What is this? This is not a fade. This is not a hitch. This is not what I am expecting. This is something entirely new that we do not have a technique to defend. So the way that we used to defend the back shoulder fade was give it to him or change the coverage altogether or change the defense altogether to compensate for it, because if they throw a good back shoulder fade, the pressure can't get there quickly enough and there is no technique that goes for it. And yeah, that's all probably, 2-3 seconds.
According to the Denver Post in 2014, Warren Moon in the 1980s with the Houston Oilers created the back shoulder pass consistently. Jack Del Rio believes it probably first appeared in the 70s with Philadelphia Eagles wide receiver Harold Carmichael.
Nice. Fart Bear reading Wikipedia is a good role for him.
So I guess not when it was born, but when it was like popularized, because if it was born in the 70s, I should know how to go. Maybe I'm just the only corner that never knew how to go.
I just want to point out, Chris, that your dad and Stu have never looked younger, giggling over the iPad in the back row like kids in the back of a classroom.
The best part is that they're just Googling Dominique.
That's it. What are you guys finding?
No, I knew Dominique retired from the NFL young. No. I knew he retired young, but I wasn't sure how young he was. And Dominique, I'm curious, in all honesty, was there a point later in your career where you covered a receiver who just kicked your ass, and it made you think, I cannot cover this man, it's time for me to retire?
That's how Greg feels watching us.
I'd say that it wasn't as much. You know what it was? It was in practice against Torrey Smith. And so, like, my best attribute was speed, and he was a fast player. When I came back from my ACL tear. I tore my ACL right before the lockout. So when we were locked out, I was unable to rehabilitate with the team staff. And I came back and I just didn't have the speed that I wanted to have. And Torrey Smith's a fast player, but he was never like so fast that I couldn't stay with him. But man, well done. Way to sabotage a good segment by tricking me into talking about the most boring part of my life.
I'll try to save it. How do you cover the slant?
Yeah. Was that invented after your time too, or
they're playing defense? Ironically enough, on us.
The slant wasn't around when I was in the league.
Can we talk about 56 kbps modems? I miss those so much.
I don't know what any of those words mean. I know what a modem is. 56
kbps. That's like where I hope that we would have frozen internet connectivity speeds. When you had to wait for a JPEG of Carmen Electra to unfurl down
Why
your
are we
screen.
doing this?
Because that's everything that we are talking about, where I feel kinship with Greg and Stu, is with high-speed internet. And if we just had 56 kbps modems, and I had to earn a JPEG,
this is heading straight towards
earn a certain something.
Yeah, you know what?
Earn these.
Riley Moss, my new favorite corner in football. Look him up.
Earn these nuts.
Look him up.